We are religious leaders and people of faith and communities of faith. We see the importance of promoting our faith and what that faith stands for. But that goes beyond preaching within churches. We feel that there's an imperative upon us, a call upon us, to ensure that when we promote the faith, we also promote social justice, because we can't delink the two. Yeah, and for us in the Christian faith, there are several examples of several scriptures that speak to us. James speaks about the fact that we cannot just say God loves you, or speak about the faith while another is facing difficulties, maybe with their food or anything. The two go together. That's caring for one another and ensuring that we care about the well-being of others, the well-being of human beings, and nowadays we also talk about the well-being of the planet. And Jesus Christ also speaks in Matthew 25 about the need to care for those who suffer, the need to care for those who are in need, like the sick, those in prison. And he says that insofar as we do good to such people, we do to him. So when we see human beings and we see the image of God in them, we see the life of God in them. So when anything goes wrong with them, we should be concerned. Our faith compels us to ensure that to ensure the well-being of others, because they are made in the image and likeness of God, and there's the life of God in them. So we should take care of them because God cares about them as well.
That's important.
You spoke about global policy. One of the things I do, other than coordinating the work that we do in the field of social justice, is to provide, our office provides an interface between what we do and global policy. Because global policy has such an impact on outcomes in various places, including countries and societies. For example, global policy around trade, global policy around health will determine whether a child in Africa has immunization or not, or has access to other services that the child needs, even though a decision may have been made in Geneva or New York. It has ramifications to in regard to what happens in local areas, even in some remote village in Africa. And so we care that global policy promotes inclusion and ensures that everyone has access to what they need. Of course, we religious communities begin by advocating for good policy, and they speak to power. They make suggestions in regard to what could be done to promote life and to promote well-being. But also, the religious communities help to do analysis. In our Catholic social analysis, we have see, judge, and act. That we pay attention to what's going on in the world. That we be not blind. So that we Christians or people of faith, it could be Muslims or Hindus, that we be attentive to experience, to see what is going on, whether things are okay or not. And when we see that things are the way they are, if they are not okay, we ask the question, why? And we do analysis. We use the tools of science, the tools of economic analysis, social analysis, to understand what are those things that are making the situation be the way it is. And then after that, we are moved to act, to act by way of conscientizing our people about what's going on and what could be done to create a movement for good, but also to call for change, to advocate, and we do this by speaking to centers of power in that regard. But also, if you are in a situation like where we are in Africa, groups like ourselves also intervene to do good, because as you know, our governments are not fully capable of responding to the needs of our population. So you find religious movements, religious communities also moving in terms of providing social services like health and education, because there we see the imperative there to do something about concrete situations.
I've heard this from others, and I feel like what you're saying very much supports this. If we are to solve some of these challenges, which are, considerable, it's going to take an all-hands-on-deck effort. It's going to take a lot of different groups across the government, civil society, religion, private sector, etc. What have you seen as you've engaged across the different areas of society in affecting change?
I see a lot of action. Like I said, first of all, it's to speak, to make proposals in regard to what could be done, but also engaging the work of changing, the work of change itself. As Christians or as people of faith, we get involved when things are not going the way they should, not only by way of speaking, but by way of mobilizing groups. The church or faith groups have this convening power that when there's need to do something, they can play the role of leadership to call people to mobilize resources and work for change. I'll give you an example from the gospel. Jesus Christ, when he saw that people were hungry and his disciples were like, we are tired, let's send them away, he said, no, let's do something about it. What Jesus actually did, I don't think he did magic of multiplying loaves magically, but I think that he played the role of mobilizing leadership by asking disciples, do something about it. And the disciples must have asked people to bring everything they had together, the resources they had together, and they realized that actually they had enough. Yeah. So sometimes faith groups or churches or faith people play or can play that role of convening groups, individuals with resources, and see the different resources we have and bring them together to see how we can effect a change. Because as you know, in the world, there is enough to go around, but we don't get to do it. And so the church or faith groups, faith leaders can play this role of mobilizing resources or playing the leadership role of bringing those resources together and distribute them well. It could also be by way of mobilizing governments, mobilizing other groups, or mobilizing the faithful themselves to do something about what is going, what is not going okay, or what is going wrong. Leave no one behind is a very powerful statement and a theme that we are following here. Traditionally, in Christian social teaching, we speak about preferential option for the poor. That means we must look, like I said, we must be attentive to what is going on and see that there are those who are marginalized. They can easily be forgotten. People who are suffering, people who have no means, they can suffer quietly and die quietly if we don't pay attention. And then there are also other groups of people or individuals that may not be able to walk as fast as others along, including the differently abled people. People who have less resources, or maybe they are differently abled. They are physically maybe impaired, or such people, they can be easily excluded. But Jesus asks us to pay attention to such people. That is why he said, even if there are 99 sheep that are healthy and okay, that he said that he would rather go after the lost one and bring it back. And that's what we want to do, to look out for those sheep that are in the minority. They are wounded, they are marginalized. Look out for them. And as the scriptures say, bandage them. Ensure that their wounds are taken care of, are cleaned, and that they are supported until they can be able to walk with us. Now, that's something that we do that comes from the heart of concern, from the heart of compassion. We know that usually we speak about developing economic policies and other things that we do, policies to do whatever we can do. But all of these will not work unless we, first of all, like I said, be attentive that there are people who are marginalized and pay attention to them and move with them. But this will happen if we sort of grow and promote compassion within us, care and concern. And that's another thing that we in the Christian groups or faith groups, Hindu, Muslim, can do. Because religions, speak about or emphasize compassion, concern, care, and they teach it also. They support communities to grow that. And it's lacking in the world. And that's something that helps us to know that there are people that we should be concerned about and have compassion for. And if we do that, then we cannot leave anyone behind. At the moment, that is not happening in the world. There are so many people that are left behind. The hungry, the sick, several people without income, including countries who are left unaided. Like in the Christian Gospels, again, they have the Good Samaritan. There are people who are left half dead. Okay? But so what this theme calls us is to be attentive to such experiences, such people, and such realities, and be moved by compassion to ensure that even if we have the energy and the speed to go, that we pay attention to those that are behind and go back like the Good Samaritan and pick them up and ensure that nobody is left behind.